Coming up on Mountain News this morning, health leaders warn of the danger a combination of type of opioid and horse tranquilizer poses in the Commonwealth. And our region continues to deal with a growing problem of illegal dumping, which is causing a strain on the crews that are left to deal with the mess.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning. The time is 5:33. I'm Keaton Hall. Let's go over to Brandon Robinson. He's got a check of the forecast.
Well, this morning, Keaton, we were looking again at some fairly mild conditions for this time of the year. Of course, late April, you expect it to be a little bit chilly, but today, not so bad. Let's take a look over at Jenkins, US 119, US 23, and not a whole lot of traffic as usual over there heading into Southwest Virginia this morning. But we can see that the temperatures, again, a little warmer, 40s, 50s, and 60s this morning instead of the typical 30s and 40s or 30s and 40s and 50s or 40s and 50s out there. But again, a lot of folks close to 60 this morning. Moorhead 59, Prestonsburg 59, Logan 61, Pikeville 62, Jackson 63. Jackson is the warmest spot in the region. But then you got places like Irvin at 48 and Jonesville at 45, Grundy's at 46 along with Middlesboro and Jacksboro this morning. Statewide almost 70 in Carbondale, Illinois this morning. Close to it there, Louisville and Paducah both at 67 across the river. It's 48 in Cincinnati, 48 Ashland, and 48 in the Tri-Cities. Day planner for today. Lots of sunshine, a few clouds at times, and very warm, 85 a daytime high. Keaton.
Thanks, Brandon. The Biden administration recently announced a familiar opioid is being combined with horse tranquilizer, and its emerging threat to the public. WYMT's Jordan Mullen spoke to officials with Addiction Recovery Care, as well as local first responders, about the dangerous drug combination.
On April 12th, the Biden administration declared that fentanyl mixed with a non-opiate horse tranquilizer called xylazine has become an emergent threat to the nation. Here in the mountains, the emergence of this tranq dope has officials with Addiction Recovery Care, or ARC, quite worried.
This is not new to America, but it's relatively new to Kentucky and to West Virginia. So we're seeing it come into the area, and we're quite frankly scared.
Along with the opioid epidemic, local first responders have seen a steady increase in overdose cases across the region.
We experience at least sometimes 2 and 3 overdoses a week, up to 5 to 10 in a week. Had one this morning. Terrible. A complete disaster.
And because xylazine is not an opiate, naloxone or Narcan does not work, making the combination even more deadly.
Narcan cannot always resuscitate someone who has used xylazine and fentanyl because Narcan will not work on the xylazine.
But ARC officials and first responders still suggest having Narcan on hand.
If you need it, it's available at the health department. Most police departments will have it on demand. You can also contact us.
Working to keep folks safe and battling the ever-growing epidemic. Jordan Mullins, WYMT Mountain News.
ARC Deputy Legal Counsel Jonathan Gay adds, if you or someone you know is battling addiction, or if you'd like more information, you can visit arccenters.com. Kentucky State Police are accused of not doing enough to investigate cockfighting. Several animal welfare groups wrote a letter to Governor Andy Beshear and Attorney General Daniel Cameron and held a news conference saying cockfighting goes on because people think they can get away with it. The Herald-Leader reports one of the groups says it gave state police cockfight schedules and called during the events. KSB State Police responded, saying it investigates tips about illegal activity to the fullest extent. Since last year's flooding, illegal dump sites have popped up across the region. In Breathitt County, officials reported an increase in dump sites recently. County garage equipment operator Ronnie Campbell says they're short-staffed, but when they get more people, they will assess the issues they can.
And once we get that gives me and him time to free up to go and do the dump sites and write them up and file for grants and stuff like that to do them with. Yeah, and we go through a process. We go out and we'll dig through with grabbers and stuff and try to find somebody's name. And if we find somebody's name, we take it to the prosecuting attorney, Brandon Miller, and then he'll file charges.
He says to call the sheriff's department if you need to report someone for illegally dumping. He He says people need to be patient as they work during these times. People here in Perry County now have another option when it comes to speech and physical therapy. I was able to attend the ribbon cutting for Mountain Therapy to learn more about the new service. After being delayed due to last July's flood, Sam Sparkman and Jonathan Sizemore have officially opened their new office in Hazard.
We moved over here at the end of July, and then the flood happened, so that put us back a little bit. But then we actually have pretty good caseloads now. We're staying busy and getting good referrals. We have great providers supporting the community.
Mountain Therapy is locally owned and operated. Sparkman is from Knott County and Sizemore from Pikeville.
Being from Knott County, when you needed things, you came to Hazard. So born and raised here, I just wanted to give back to the community. When I was younger, I had a great deal of physical therapy and been blessed with it. So I figured, no better place than home to help serve.
The new office offering both physical and speech therapies.
We offer physical and speech therapy. I'm the speech therapist. Most of my caseload is pediatrics, kids with autism or developmental delays, but I do see adults as well.
Something Sizemore says the area is in need of.
And I've worked in the area for the past 6 years, and there are not a lot of speech therapists in the community, and there's definitely a need for kids to get services. So I figured we'll start up in our own community, and that way we can serve the community where we live and the community we love.
Staying local so their caseload can as well. In Hazard, Keaton Hall, WYMT Mountain News. Mountain Therapy is open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. In the last decade, technology has become a useful tool for kids to stay connected with one another. But healthcare professionals say too much of a good thing can eventually become bad. Scott Lockard with the Kentucky River District Health Department says limiting kids' screen time is important in maintaining their social health and can also help to promote their creativity.
A child's mind, it's a time of great imagination, a time whenever, they're just thinking about the whole world and making sense of the world. So boredom, yes, can be a good thing. We will try to keep our kids' activity in active in a productive way, but then by never allowing our child to be bored, we're really stifling their creativity.
Lockard says screen time is all about balance and ensuring kids are using technology to meet their needs in today's world. At the same time, it's also important to make time for them to have in-person interaction in real-world experiences. The Hazard Lions Club is hosting its 51st radio auction, benefiting scholarships to high school students in Perry County. This is the first auction since the COVID-19 pandemic. The club is auctioning off items like TVs, cooking sets, and more. Hazard Lions Club President Abby Little says she's excited to be back.
We were going to have it back in the fall, but after the Eastern Kentucky floods, we decided to postpone it until spring. So this is actually our first auction in the spring, and we're actually doing really well with it, a lot better than we thought we would. And, it's our first year back from COVID, so we're really excited to be back this year.
The auction continues for one more night. You can call WSGS 101.1 this evening between 5 and 9 to place a bid. Hillbilly Days is back, and the city of Pikeville is already packing in the activities. The three-day festival officially kicks off today with food, fun, and festival favorites back on the streets and Riverville area of downtown Pikeville. City officials say the excitement is in the air, and they hope to see a great turnout.
There's over 200 and some vendors that are going to be right downtown Pikeville. The carnival's already here and set up, so make sure you swing by that. It's going to be a fun 3 days, and it's beautiful right now, so hopefully we can keep this weather to have just as many people as we did last year.
Our WYMT guest weather booth will also make an appearance this year, so plan to drop by and see us. We'll have a live coverage from the Hillbilly Days today starting at 4 p.m. Just ahead, there's some big news for all the dedicated Twilight fans watching this morning. We'll have the details in just a few minutes.
And like we just talked about, Hillbilly Days kicks off in Pikeville today. It's the first festival of the season, and the first of it looks pretty good for the most part. I'll tell you about some rain chances or how they could put a damper on at least one day of it in about 3 minutes.